All right, welcome. My name is Tia Johnson. I'm an enrollment services advisor for the College of Pharmacy and specifically University of Cincinnati's Master of Science in Pharmacy Leadership Program. And so we will get started with introductions. If Ms. Janelle Sabaka, our professor and director of the Pharmacy Leadership Program.
Welcome, welcome.
And then we have Tammy Rodriguez, who is a former student of our program, and she will express her experiences and accomplishments after the program as well. And then we have a program coordinator, Aaron Smith.
Hi, everyone.
And so let's get started. Welcome to our live information session. This is just a summary of what we will go over in the PowerPoint. And so just a few notes. We will go over the differences between the master's and the graduate certificate. And then we'll go over admission requirements and the process for the application. Then any deadlines that you should be familiar with that will be coming up, we will go over those. And then we will go over the student experience for all students while they're a part of our University of Cincinnati online program. And so why would you choose pharmacy leadership? I will let Ms. Janelle Sabaka go over this.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your interest in our pharmacy leadership graduate program. This program was designed by our College of Pharmacy when we recognized that students were wanting to further their leadership and management knowledge and skill set, and they were only finding MBAs and MHA programs, Masters in Health Administration, but the content really wasn't in the context of pharmacy or the specific pharmacy related management expertise they were looking for. And so we built this degree program, the graduate certificate or master's in pharmacy leadership, for those students that want to further their management leadership career track. We are open for pharmacists from all practice backgrounds. So we have students from a variety of backgrounds. Dr. Rodriguez, who's with us, is with the Bureau of Prisons. We've also had Indian Health Service, pharmacists in health systems, both inpatient, outpatient, clinical coordinators, ambulatory clinic, federally qualified health centers, community pharmacy, corporate administration, home infusion. So for me, the real joy of this program are the students from their various backgrounds coming together to learn leadership and management skills, and also learning about each other's practice backgrounds and how we all fit together in one profession. The program itself pulls courses from the College of Pharmacy, the College of Business, and the College of Allied Health. You'll see we have elective courses from both the Masters in Health Administration and the Masters in Health Informatics, all as online courses.
And so some of our program highlights, we will go over those as well.
Yes. Before I jump into that, I'd ask Dr. Rodriguez, how did you find our program, and why did you choose a master's in pharmacy leadership?
Yeah, so I found the program through a friend. So I am a commissioned officer in the United States Public Health Service, and part of our growth and leadership development is consistently learning and advancing our education. And so I was looking for a program. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I didn't want to do something just for promotion or just for a CV. I wanted to do something that was very applicable to my daily experience and something that would be beneficial to myself and the patients and officers that I serve. So a mentor of mine and a friend, he knew I was interested in looking for programs, and I had looked at several Masters in Public Health programs and MHA programs. And he, I think, got an email from UC about this and forwarded it to me. He said, "Hey, I think this is what you were looking for." And I was like, "That's exactly it. This is exactly what because being in a leadership role, and at that time I was in a regional role and knew that there was a potential for me to advance in that, I was looking for something that kind of combined my experiences as both a pharmacist and an officer, and a growing leader. So yeah, that's why I chose this program, versus a lot of other ones that I had been evaluating, and how I learned about it.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. So the program highlights, I wanted to indicate it's very flexible. It's completely online, what we call asynchronous learning. So each week the lectures are recorded. The content is discussion boards and assignments that allow a student to sign in anytime that week to complete the background work and then the assignments at hand. This gives great flexibility to people with their school, work, and personal schedules. Also, we have students from various locations across the country, so different time zones, different work schedules. So there are no requirements to show up at a specific time, and there are no requirements to come to Cincinnati to complete any other work at UC. As we've mentioned, it builds both your leadership, management, and business skills in a pharmacy context. And the faculty that we hire to teach this are adjuncts that all come from either recently retired or seasoned high-level management executive positions. So they've had a lot of experiences in their career to share and give back. They're very careful as they develop the course content to keep it up to date with the latest issues and developments. Course tweaks took place over COVID with all the changes in practice and policies that were a result of that, and very grateful for their expertise to each of our courses in the program. We do have a scholarship opportunity to help with course tuition if needed, and you'll have great support from a student success coordinator if you have questions along the way, need additional support. But we do believe this is a great alternative to the MBA, MHA, and MHI degree. Dr. Rodriguez, I'd ask you, I know upon completion of the program, you have advanced in your own career track. Perhaps this program helped you with that, but tell us a little bit about how your career has changed from after being an alumnus.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started, I was the regional chief, as was mentioned, I'm assigned to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So was overseeing pharmacy operations for the Southeast region. And I graduated last year. And then last fall, I was selected as the national program director for pharmacy for the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So certainly, I think this course helped with my selection and also just preparation for that next step.
Yeah, it's been great to see you grow in your career, and phenomenal with the patient care oversight that you have for the people in our federal prison system. So thank you for that. Next slide. So this is a slide comparing our master's to that of an MBA or an MHA. As I mentioned, if you were looking for an advanced degree and more interested in moving beyond pharmacy, perhaps, or into the business elements of healthcare and pharmacy practice, you may want to look further at an MBA degree that would take you into that arena of business operations and administrations. On the right-hand side, if you're looking to move in a health system beyond a pharmacy track to perhaps vice president of patient care services, or maybe CEO of the entire health system, health hospital, again, a health systems master's, health administration master's may be the right fit for you. But if you're interested in staying in pharmacy, but growing in your career and advancing in your leadership roles, this master's of pharmacy degree, again, prepares you for a lot of the cases context around pharmacy specifically. Next slide. So as was mentioned at the beginning, there were two choices. You can complete the full 10 courses or 30 credits, as Dr. Rodriguez did for the Master's in Pharmacy Leadership. Some pharmacists want to start with the 5 courses or 15 credits and achieve the pharmacy leadership graduate certificate. If you do that, then you can easily, at that point in time, then transition to take the remaining 5 courses for the master's, because they all transfer. So some students choose that track of starting with the graduate certificate and then later moving to the master's degree. Next slide. Taya, I think you'll cover this.
Yes. So for the admission requirements, in order to qualify for our program, you need to have a bachelor's degree in pharmacy or be currently enrolled in PharmD school or have your PharmD. And so you need a cumulative of a 3.0 or higher GPA. Now, this is recommended. We do have you can work with your enrollment services advisor on ways to amplify your application if you are worried about your GPA. We do need your unofficial transcripts for the application. And now this is for the application, but once you're enrolled, we will need your official transcripts. But unofficial is easy for your application. So if you have access to those already, you can upload those from your previous school. And then we will need 2 letters of recommendation. And so that would be anyone who has known you in professional capacity that could really vouch for how great of a student you are. Then we will need a resume/CV, and then a statement of purpose, which is going to be a page to 2 pages long, describing your goals, why you're interested in this program, how they relate to this program, and what you plan to do once you graduate from this program. And so one of the perks about applying for either this upcoming summer term or fall term is our application fees are waived. So the application is free if you're interested in applying for our summer or fall terms this year. So you should definitely take advantage of that. Okay.
All right, so these are the 10 courses I mentioned that are needed for the Master's in Pharmacy Leadership. We do have the Principles of Leadership that's taught with the MHA program, so you're in that course with other health professionals as a required course, and then 7 additional courses from the College of Pharmacy. Those include Leading Quality Management and the Quality Improvement Process, Human Resource Management from hiring to developing, advancing, and rewards and recognition for pharmacists in your team, communications for leaders and some strong principles for always improving our communication skills in a leadership role. Management of medication use systems is monitoring and improving the use system from inventory, first acquiring your products, all the way to the point when they reach the patient. So the pharmacist's role in that oversight. Pharmacy economics, the healthcare marketplace. That's not pharmacoeconomics about a specific drug as much as it is all the things that are related financially and to the economy and the pharmacy marketplace. So modules on things like the 340B program, or perhaps pharmacy contracting and purchasing, costs in the drug discovery and research area, but beginning to understand a lot of the finances and economics around pharmacy and the profession. Accounting for pharmacy leaders. Again, we created this so that pharmacists would learn the principles of accounting, budgets and interpreting budgets, creating capital requests, all in a pharmacy context. So things related to costs of drug acquisitions, capital requests for new robots, etc. And then this is a capstone-based master's, so your final course would be presenting the results of a project, a research design quality improvement project that you've led with support of a capstone committee. And then in addition to those 8 courses, you'd choose 2 electives, and I'll show you those in a minute. But before we move on, Dr. Rodriguez, perhaps you'd want to share something about one of the courses or even your capstone project?
Sure. In relation to the courses, I think they were all good for different reasons, particularly where I am working. I'm very much in a bubble. We don't deal with a lot of the areas that a traditional pharmacy would deal with, such as 340B or insurance, or a lot of the regulations tied with insurance and funding. So it was really good for me to have the opportunity to learn and refresh what I knew about the challenges and solutions that are going on in the private sector and how we can use those to apply them to a federal program. I really enjoyed communication for pharmacy leaders. I cannot stress how important communication is. Something that I still remember Dr. Sabatka taught was brevity and being very direct in your emails and very clear. And that is so important. And the higher up you go, the more brief your emails need to be because nobody has time to read a lot. So I felt that was exceptionally useful. I started this program prior to COVID and became had a key role in the BOP's COVID response and incident command system, which significantly changed my plans for graduation and my timeline. I became very invested in managing the Bureau's COVID response and our 150,000 patients that we had to care for. So one thing I can't speak enough about is how accommodating and helpful UC and the staff in this program were to understanding my situation and being flexible. So my capstone was one idea when I started the course, and completely shifted to a COVID-related capstone once I got closer to finishing because everything had changed with what I was doing. And it was great for me to be able to speak with my advisors and with Dr. Sabatka on clarifying the capstone and getting things shifted and working to get it completed was incredibly helpful and useful for the Bureau. Part of what I did for the capstone was an assessment we needed for the BOP as well. So it was overall worked out well.
Yes. COVID took away many pharmacists' attention from what they had traditionally been doing. And we certainly understood that. And like many other students, you carried forward with grit and persistence to make sure you got to the finish line with this program. And changing your capstone, again, students often find a project that's related to their practice, to their own area, so that it's not only value to them earning the master's degree, but it's a value back to the place where they practice. It doesn't have to be, that's not always the case, but it does turn out that way sometimes, and that makes it valuable as well. The next slide will show us the 2 electives. And as I mentioned, this is a hybrid program, so students can choose 2 from the following list. They come from the Master's in Health Administration, the MBA, as well as the Master's in Health Informatics. And so depending on your specific interest area, you can choose a particular course in one of these topic areas. Next slide.
All right, and so with the cost of the program, there is going to be a $15 difference whether you are a resident of Ohio or you live outside of Ohio. So Ohio residents, it's $783 per credit hour. And so the entire master's program is 30 credits. So it's going to put you at $23,490 for the entire program. And so if you're living outside of Ohio, it's $798 per credit hour. And so $798 times 30 is the $23,940 for the entire program. And so that's, the differences. And so if you are interested in financial aid, that is only eligible and supported with the master's in pharmacy leadership. Financial aid is not supported by the graduate certificate program, but the graduate certificate program is $11,745 if you're an Ohio resident, and then $11,970 if you live outside of Ohio or you're an international student. And so I briefly, mentioned this, but keep in mind that only the master's program is eligible for federal financial aid. And so if you're eligible for military benefits, you should contact your VA representative to get more information on what benefits are available to you. That way you have that in mind when you are enrolling into our program. If you are interested in federal financial aid, you should fill out a FAFSA application. And so if you are going for the summer term, you will have to complete a FAFSA application for the for the 2023 to 2024 school year, as well as 2022 to 2023. And so if you're just doing fall term, you only have to complete one FAFSA application, but you can include University of Cincinnati as one of the schools that will receive, any financial aid benefits that you are eligible for. And so our school code is on the slide. And if you have, any specific questions for your unique situation, you're able to contact our senior financial aid advisor using the email that is on the slide, cincyonlinefa@uc.edu. And we also have tuition payment plans. So if you want to make payments towards your tuition throughout the semester, we have plans for that. And so it's 3 installments each semester. And so we have more information of that on our website. And so one interesting thing we have is our University to Business Scholarship. This is an initiative that are partnerships between different programs within the university with different companies and organizations. It is basically a tuition scholarship for employees of the organization we partner with. So for example, if you work at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, at no cost to them, they can offer a scholarship to their employees and their spouses and dependents under 25. We have over 100 programs that are listed as an option. So if you're ever curious if your employer is a University to Business partner or want to learn more about it, you can ask your enrollment services advisor and we can help you get connected and get that process started. So this is just another opportunity for individuals to continue their education and elevate their careers. And so with the application deadlines, our most upcoming term is summer 2023. And so that application deadline is April 15th. And now this program does roll on an A and B term. So we do have a second deadline for the summer, June 6th. And so if you're interested, classes start May 8th for the A term, and then classes start June 21st for the B term. And so a lot of students who are, taking online courses, they don't realize that you have the same opportunities as students that are on campus as well. And so you will first off have a student success coordinator who will be your support from starting your application all the way to graduation. And so they will help you with registering for courses, managing what textbooks you want, and so on and so forth. And so that will be your personal guide until graduation. So don't feel alone. You will always have that support, as well as you'll have access to our library resources, technical support, our writing center, online learning management help, and etc. So there's plenty of resources out there that we offer for our online students. So you will always have that support. And so we encourage you to take the next step. Start an application if you are invested in our program. You may visit online.uc.edu to request more information about our program. Once you request more information, an online enrollment services advisor will be in touch with you and will be able to answer any questions you may have and be able to start that process with you, give you a timeline on when you can get your application materials submitted. And so you will have that once you, log on to our website and request more information. And so yeah, my name is Tia Johnson. I'm an enrollment advisor, as well as we have a whole team of other recruiters who are here to help you, as well as Caitlin, Dana, Abby, Anthony. And so we are all here, as well as Christy, sorry. So we are all here, answer any questions you may have. You can call, email, or text us. And so any form of communication, we are open to that. And so normally we will, take the next time to answer any questions that any participants may have, or, answer any questions that we feel that, you may or wondering about. So yeah, we will take that time to go over any questions.
Hey, real quick, can I bring something up before we get into questions?
Yes.
Just regarding graduation, it's pretty exciting. The university holds a graduation all 3 semesters, so fall, spring, and summer. However, the College of Pharmacy, we hold a special graduation because most of our PharmDs graduates graduate in the spring term. We hold a College of Pharmacy only ceremony every spring. And so for that, we also invite all of our master students of the pharmacy leadership and our other online programs, whether they graduate in the summer, fall, or spring, to participate in that spring ceremony. That's a great opportunity for students to meet with the faculty, their mentors, and then the other students here in Cincinnati. Obviously, it's not a mandatory thing, but it's something we try to encourage our graduates to participate in. And it's good to see Dr. Rodriguez here, who went through that program and did a great job.
So I'm happy to take any questions now. As Tia mentioned, we have a strong team of admissions that once you log onto the website that's shown there on the laptop, they'll follow up with you and address your questions. And if there are any they can't answer, they always connect the student with me to dig into further details. But if there's general questions now, happy to take those. But if there's a question regarding your own specific individual circumstance, we can hold that till after the call is ended and stay on and address any individual need questions. Are there any general questions for us at this time?
Well, I guess I can read out some of the questions that were put in the chat. Can we choose which course to start with, or are these consecutive courses? That's
a great question. From the list of courses you saw, the student develops their own plan of study, so they choose the timing and order of the courses. There's no required prerequisite or required order of the courses other than the capstone that comes at the very end, because that's when you're finished and ready to graduate. And also some of the courses are only offered once a year, but you structure your timing around that. From a length of time, I've had students set up a plan of study as short as 3 semesters and really dove in and finished it, taking 4 courses at a time. I don't know. They were amazing to finish that quickly, but in general, the master's is typically 5 semesters, not quite 2 years, so 2 classes a semester. Our courses are offered in half semester options, so term 1 and term 2, so you would be only taking 1 course at a time, but march through the 10 courses in a 5 semester sequence and finish. If you want to take time off for wedding, babies, COVID, new job responsibilities, you can take semesters off and take a little longer than the 2 years. That also happens as needed. But again, that plan of study is up to the student to design, and the order of the courses can be determined by them.
Hey, I think maybe another general question may be, what type of students do we look for in our program? And what are the typical type of students that we, admit in our program?
That's a great question. It's really a range, so I wouldn't say there's an average student. Typically, though, they've been out 3 to 5 years, maybe 10, 15 years, and they've decided they want management track leadership roles in their career, and so they're coming back. A clinical specialist that's moved into clinical coordinator and now advancing their career by managing and leading more people in a clinical coordinator role. So the seasoned group, is there, but then there's also some residents in the program. So we have some residencies tied where students are taking a health system pharmacy administration residency program. So they're early on. We have a nice mix of diversity. And then, as I mentioned before, the practice backgrounds. The students are all, like Dr. Rodriguez, passionate to learn and improve their own skills. And I think the assignments and discussion boards are contemporary, real issues they're dealing with in practice. So it results in a positive interchange and learning experience.
And I know this is a capstone-based program. So what is that like for, students? What do they have to find, their own projects, their own research? So what does the capstone looks like?
Dr. Rodriguez, would you like to talk about your capstone experience in finding your project and the committee and how that worked?
Yeah, sure. So my capstone was evaluating the COVID-19 vaccination rates within the Bureau of Prisons and looking at our patient responses to a survey on what did or did not lead them to accept a vaccination. So it was, and then the committee, as Dr. Subaka said, is something that she helped put together, identifying persons who had experience or significant knowledge about the type of work I was looking at and the type of capstone I was doing to put together to provide feedback and support. And they were incredibly helpful. And one of them was a colleague of mine, my former boss. She asked me if there was somebody I thought would be beneficial to the committee, which was great to be able to have him provide the perspective of our jobs on my capstone, but then I also have outside committee members identify areas that maybe I didn't think about that would be beneficial to providing the most comprehensive report and evaluation of our project. So certainly, as was mentioned, being able to identify a project that helps your current position in your current facility or your job or your current goals is really nice because it was something that benefited a lot of different people and helped me graduate, which is always good as well. But yeah, that's a little bit about mine.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for that, Tammy. And then I guess just one thing I thought about. So do you have any advice for students who may not have extensive experience, who may have just recently graduated with their PharmD or bachelor's? Any advice for those students?
Yeah, certainly, working experience under a management role, perhaps in a leadership role in different ways is important. And as you reflect on the cases and the assignments, I always strongly encourage maybe the younger, less experienced students to identify a mentor. It may be somebody in their own workplace or somebody they've ran into professionally in a network, but a mentor with management leadership experience that they can reach out to and talk about some of the cases, the assignments, and learn from that person's experiences as well as they proceed through the courses.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And if anyone else on the call has any other last minute additions to the info session?
Yeah, I noticed that our student Bakara, she is asking some questions on the Q&A. So just wondered if maybe Dr. Rodriguez could help answer some of those according to your experience. So yeah, she's asking about the time commitment. I'm thinking like the weekly time commitment.
Yeah, I did one course at a time. I was not ambitious enough to try to squeeze it all into 3 semesters. So I did one course at a time. I felt, probably sorry, my dog just came barreling through my office. I found that in the course of really my first class, I developed the schedule. Most of the courses had a very similar pace and tempo. So I found that like Sundays and Wednesdays were my time to work on class. So I would say it was certainly manageable with a full-time job. I did have to dedicate a couple evenings a week to working on the readings and watching the lectures, and then posting on the discussion boards and drafting that work. So a large part of the work was those discussion board posts, the reading and self-learning and watching the lectures. And then at times we did have additional projects on top of that, but those discussion boards were a regular tempo where it's just expected my Wednesdays and Sundays, I'd get on there and get that completed. But it was certainly very manageable to do one course at a time while working.
Thanks.
Okay. And I saw a question about networking, and absolutely, I'm happy to always make connections and network. So my email is the best way to reach me. And I don't know if I can answer. Yeah, I can answer. So I will put my email address in the Q&A. So anybody that wants to reach out certainly can.
Yes, and of course, this information session is recorded, so we will be able to, send that out to all registrants or participants, and it'll also be published on our website. So for anyone who, will see it afterwards.
Yeah. I'd mentioned we're going to have exhibits for our program at both the Federal Forum and the American Pharmacists Association's meetings coming up this March in Phoenix, Arizona. So stop by and ask us questions there and network as well.
Yes, that's very exciting. And so I'll just throw my email out there, johns6th@ucmail.uc.edu, if you want to directly email me. But that will, conclude our information session. And thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.